Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Monday, March 21st. This is MEP CAD 214. Today in class, we're going to finish our electrical and lighting circuits that we talked about last class. So we're going to resolve some of the issues that I had last time and kind of get these circuits finished. So we'll just kind of jump into it. Just a little refresh from last time. Remember, when you're starting a new project for electrical, say file, new project. Remember, you always want to do the browse and look for the electrical default template. So that's the one I've already opened and already have these walls kind of thrown up real quick, just to kind of give you an example of what we're going to do. All right, so as we did last time, the first thing we're going to do here is go into our Systems tab. And I'm going to go over to my device tool. I'm going to do the drop down and I'm going to throw in some electrical fixtures. This is just a standard duplex receptacle. And for this one, I just want you to use your common sense of how many that you think you'll need. When we actually do your final project, you'll be given a specific number. And I'm just putting in a bunch here, just to kind of show a couple of things. And I found one thing that's helpful when I do this is either I'll do it one room at a time. Typically, it just makes more sense to keep things organized when you do it one room at a time. Here, I just laid out a bunch because I wanted to show you another situation where laying out a bunch of outlets may cause you an issue. So we've got all our outlets laid out. And this is what tripped me up last time was our electrical equipment. So next thing we want to do is add that. So we're still going to add our electrical equipment. And we've got our default over here. So we're going to go to load family. And I'm already at my lighting. So I'm still going to use this lighting appliance panel board. And I'm going to have it surface mounted, and I'm just going to mount it right here, kind of central to all these different buildings. And this is where things got weird last time, because sometimes it lets me rename this. Let's see if it's going to let me do no. Sometimes when I do this drop down, but then it shows, and then we'll do panel. Yeah, but I found a workaround for that. So hopefully y'all can get that to work, but for some reason it's just not being my friend all the time. I did do a screenshot to show you that it does actually work sometimes. So here I renamed it Central Panel. So yeah, it's just weird. I did the drop down and stuff. So anyway, we found a workaround besides that. If the real reason that you want to name the panel is if you are using many different panels and they're all the same exact type of panel, you may label them like room 1 or floor 2. That way you can distinguish between the two different panels if you're using the same type. Oops, cancel out of that. All right, but for now, we can still have a workaround with just using the panel that we have here. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and create our circuit. So we're going to click on one of these duplex units, and we're going to add power to it. Then we have power, and here's where the panel name comes into play. So if we were going to select our panel, we can just select the one that's in play now that we have, that's set up by just the type of panel it is. But if we use multiple types of panels of that one, that's when we would want to make sure we get it renamed. And I'll continue to look into that, see if I can get that fixed. From here, once we have our panel selected, we want to go to our edit circuit. And this is where we're going to add a bunch more of our outlets to create that circuit to this panel right here. So we're going to go ahead and select the other circuits that we want to add to this one. I'll just keep clicking. And eventually you're going to get to a point, which is why I put so many in here, is that it's going to tell you that the total connected load for circuit 1 is exceeding 80%. So that's what's so nice about Revit, is it'll tell you you're not going to overload the capacity for that one circuit. It's going to give you a warning and say that no, you're going too far, you need to remove one. So now we'll come up to the top and we'll do remove circuit, and we'll take this one out. And at this point, we can finish the circuit that we have here. So the confusing part is, okay, well, have I already put these guys in a circuit already, or I haven't? And now we've got to go back and kind of figure out which ones, if you're not paying attention at that time. This is part of the reason I think, especially when you're using that bigger, doing your bigger project, that it'll be easier if you do one room at a time and just connect all those to one room. That way also, as you line up your circuit panel, you'll be able to say this, list that on your circuit box and your circuit breakers. You know, all these electrical outlets are in room 2, room 3, you know, break room, whatever. So we do have those lined up. Now I think my other one's right here. Let's see. This one is hooked up to a circuit. So we'll go to this one next, and we'll add power on here. It's still at the same power bar, and we'll go ahead and edit circuit again. So I should be able to add these. If I go to add that one, this is when it's telling me I already have this one a circuit, so I can't add that one to this circuit, so I'll remove it. And I'll just go ahead and continue adding some of these other ones on here, or I'll do add circuit and add a couple more. And then I can just go ahead and say finish circuit. So at this point, we still have these left to do. And we can go ahead and continue with that. So as you see, it's a lot of repetition of the same thing. Here we have the same circuit breaker we're choosing. I'll just click these. I've got this one pointing in the wrong direction, but I can fix that by flipping it. And we'll finish that circuit. Let's click there. And where are my toggles? Right here. So now that's aligned in the correct place. All right, so we have our 3 different circuits laid out, and they're all attached to this panel. So how can we tell what that circuit looks like? Well, we need to add some wiring, and that's actually very easy. So we're going to go to this outlet right here, kind of hover over it and just hit the tab button. When you hit the tab button, it's going to lay out that electrical wire right for you, which makes things super easy. So if you come off of it, it's going to go away. So while you're over it and you're kind of hanging out, just hit tab and then hit enter, then click. It's going to give you 2 options to create the wiring system. I like to use this one. This is a more classical one where it's more curved. This is one that you'll typically see used more often with the curves in it. I'll show you the difference between the other one. Here we can see the end of this circuit. We can just connect it back to our panel box. Let's do the other circuits. So on this one, it's the same thing, linger, tab, oops, click. And this is what the other circuit looks like. It's more inlined, and I think this one actually looks better. So you can choose which one you want to use, but typically you will see this more with these arcs than anything else. And then finally, we'll do the last circuit. Same thing, linger over this, hit tab, click, and then that will create our last circuit. So you're going to have lots of different circuits. All these would go to the different panel box, and all of them would be labeled per room. Just like if you go to your breaker, if you go to flip the breakers on your panel box at home, you'll see that it'll be labeled. So it's really easy to create our entire power system right here. Yeah. So if you have everything laid out already, just these breakers, which I told you to kind of just lay out, not breakers, the outlets, told you to put the outlets in. So the easy thing will be once you have your outlets in place, let's just throw in a couple more. Next thing you would do is go ahead and do it by room. You'd select one of the outlets in that room, go to power, select your panel, and then create your circuit, which here it would only be 2, and then finish it. So you can just do that by room from what you have laid out. Once you have everything laid out, we'll put that in a sheet. We'll go ahead and use 11 by 17 for our sheets. These are just small drawings, so we'll just use that 11 by 17. You all know how to create sheets and that information. Next thing from here, we'll go ahead and jump into, well, before I move on, any questions about the power grid?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm using the template that you gave us to insert outlets.
Mm-hmm.
It won't accept the outlets. I mean, it's just no matter what I do, it won't accept them.
So let's go to file. Let's go to new project.
Yeah, that one right there. That.
And then electrical. And in order to use that one, we should be able to go to insert, link Revit, find that. So this is the one you're having trouble inserting the.
Yes, yeah.
That's odd. So we should be at a point where we're like this, where you have that inserted, and we'll just go to architecture tab, and actually we'll go to systems tab, sorry. So from systems tab, just to device, and you're going to be in floor plan lighting, and it's not letting you just drop these guys in.
No, I don't understand why.
Have you checked, maybe it's set on place on face instead of vertical, because if we have place on face, that's where we can set them in the middle. We talked about like maybe doing a lab there where you would need them there. But if it's set to vertical, you should be able to attach these guys to a wall. So what I would suggest to do is just start over, because that's the easiest part, just reinserting that. And if it still gives you a problem, try it now. And then if not, when we're finished with class, I'll just jump on, or you can just stay on and we can see what's going on with it. The only other thing I can think about is that maybe it's like some setting in our properties that's giving you some issues, or even the drawing itself. Yeah. So try it again while we're on and see, but if it should work. And if not, we'll jump on, after everybody drops off, we'll take a look and see. All right, so let me go back to my other project. Any other questions about power before we go on from there?
Just got a quick question, more curious. So I'm putting a bunch of GFCI outlets on the floor in the lab. I'm assuming those will run the power. The circuit will be the same, just run the circuit the same way, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, well, you're just going to connect those the same way. So if we did that, you just click one of those and power, select. Well, I don't have my panel out yet, but I would select my panel, and then once the panel is selected, you just go to edit circuit. The biggest and most confusing thing is how many of these outlets can you put on one circuit? So you just keep clicking, and then you'll get to that number, and then you can adjust it from there.
Okay.
Cool. All right, let's go back to this one. So we've got our outlets laid out. Next thing we're going to do is do our lighting, and we'll just jump to a ceiling plan for lighting. Oh, I don't think I added a ceiling yet. Obviously not. Nope. All right, so let me add a ceiling there. All right, so now I have my ceiling in place. So we'll use the same procedure that we did before. Go to Systems tab, And here we'll just use our lighting fixtures. You can load new lighting fixtures, or you can use the ones that are already set here. I'm just going to use the ones that are already set here for now, but you can go ahead and load other families. So I've just picked this one randomly. And here I'll just go ahead and drop in a few lights. To have these lined up better so they look more consistent, you can highlight one and then just move your directional arrows. That way it looks better. And we want to make sure that we have all of our lights distributed evenly throughout the space. This is also a time where you want to think about the different type of light usage that you would have. If you have like some spotlight needs, you can add the spotlights in there as well. This may be a time that if you're using multiple types of lighting fixtures, that you put the two different types of lighting fixtures on just separate circuits and separate switches. So we've got our light in place. Next thing I want to do is add a couple of switches. So let's go down to, we'll go to device, we'll go to lighting. We'll go to switch types. I'm going to use a three-way, which means that if the door was right here, I could turn it on here and turn it on here as well. So we'll use a three-way switch. And now we just want to create our electrical circuit like we did with our outlets. So let's click on here and we'll go to power and I'll go to my panel. And it's telling me that there's no panel available, which is odd because I know that there is a panel here. Well, in this particular case, I knew this was going to happen just because in case y'all came across this problem, you would know what's going on. But basically what happened is this light is too strong for this circuit box. So if we take a look at this light, it's set at 277. And then if we take a look at our circuit box, it's set at a 208 volt. So we need to make sure that the lights that we're using are under 208 or less. So what I'm going to do is click on one, right click, select all instances. We got all my lights selected, and now I'm just going to switch this back to a 120. So now when I go back to connect my lights, and I should have a panel to select. So pick this again. I'll go to my electrical circuits. Here I can choose my panel. It is the one that I have available. I'm going to hit edit circuit and I'm going to pick everything I want on that circuit, which is all my lights and my two switches. And now I've finished that circuit. So that circuit's done. There is another step for your lighting is that we need to actually connect the switches. So now we'll pick one of the lights again and we'll do switch this time and we'll edit our switch system. And it's just a repetition of what we did before. We're just going to pick the same lights, but this time it will actually connect the switches. It's not letting me select this one here because I have to do select switch and I can select that switch. Same thing for this one, select switch. So I know that they're going to the switches that I want, and we'll go ahead and hit finish system. Looks like nothing happened, but we're going to do the same trick as before. Kind of linger over one of the lights, hit the tab button. There's our wire layout, pick the arcs. And then we have that laid out nicely like that. So it's all pretty easy. It's just steps and remembering the right things to do, and like, you know, typical Revit stuff that y'all are aware of. Once you start laying these out and you see that they get more and more complex with so many lights, especially in that bigger project you're doing, you can adjust the location of these arcs. So you could just click on one and you can adjust them so it works better. That's up to you how you want to lay that out. So that's basically it for the lighting system. Make sure they're all connected to the circuit box. When we jump down to lighting down here, notice our lighting is still in place in this area. Well, when we put this in a sheet, we don't want this to be showing on our sheet. So remember, we're going to go to visibility graphics and we're going to turn off our light fixtures. I'll hit OK. And now we'll just have our power grid that we have available, and then also our lighting system right here with our lighting grid. So that's it.
How would we name those sheets? What is, I'm assuming it's going to be like E101, E102 or something like that? Or?
Correct. Yeah, it'll be yes. Oh, yeah. It's the electrical one, and then just the name, you know, outlets, and then lighting system, power system, lighting system.
Power system and lighting system.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's E101 or E1?
E101, E101, E102.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions, guys?
I'm going to stick around while you guys work out, where you guys have whatever you want to work out. If that's cool with you, I'm just going to
Totally.
eavesdrop.
If everybody wants to stay, that you can do that too, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and that way Ishmael can share his share his screen.